Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and whoa, Doctor Strange is back in Avengers Doomsday. A complete turnaround in the past week after Benedict Cumberbatch's apparent misstatement that he was not going to be in Doomsday, but would be in a third Doctor Strange film. So this means that the previously posted cast list and our expectations for this film are really back on, and I'm so excited. Even if it means we now get to put some pieces back on the board to make sense of what this movie will be. So in this video, we are going to set the record straight and explain what the hell is going on here, why Benedict Cumberbatch thought he wasn't going to be in Doomsday, and who is now back in Dr. Doom's crosshairs, and another episode of Doom's List. And on Super Bowl Sunday, February 9th, join New Rockstars here on YouTube for our trailer watch party. Starting 1 hour before kickoff, we are going to be live streaming through the game to react to all the biggest trailers, answer your questions, eat a whole bunch of dip, and it's going to be a lot of fun, so we'll see you on the stream. Okay, to recap, on January 22nd, in an interview with Variety, Benedict Cumberbatch initially said that Doctor Strange will not be in Avengers Doomsday, and he seemed pretty definitive about it. In this article we read, Doctor Strange has taken a hiatus in the next Marvel sequel, 2026's Avengers Doomsday. Is that a spoiler? He asks. Fuck it. Undeterred, he shares that things changed when Jonathan Majors, whose character Kang was intended to serve as the main antagonist of the next phase of the comic book film franchise, was fired in 2024 after being convicted of assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Cumberbatch's absence from Doomsday has to do with, quote, the character not aligning with this part of the story. And though he probably shouldn't be saying this, he also revels that Doctor Strange is in a lot of Avengers Secret Wars, which will hit theaters in 2027. Quote, he's quite central to where things might go, Cumberbatch teases, and we all lost our minds and made some videos about it here on New Rockstars that you might have seen. But now, 1 week later, on January 29th, Benedict Cumberbatch clarified to Business Insider on the red carpet for the premiere of The Thing with Feathers at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah, that he had misspoken and he actually will appear in Avengers Doomsday. Quote, I got that wrong. I am in the next one, Cumberbatch told Business Insider when asked if he'd gotten any sternly worded emails from the notoriously spoiler-averse Marvel team as a result of his previous comments. When I pointed out that other Marvel stars have straight up lied about their involvement in certain movies before, like Cumberbatch's Spider-Man No Way Home co-star Andrew Garfield, who gleefully kept secret one of the most satisfying MCU cameos ever, Cumberbatch quickly played coy once again. Don't believe anything I say, he said with a smirk. And we never will ever again, Benedict. Indeed, it is interesting for Cumberbatch to get mixed up on this because historically he has been the reliable MCU actor in various media junkets so that Marvel Studios would pair him up with Tom Holland to keep that kid from spoiling stuff in interviews.
I'm here to filter
That's
everything
exactly why I'm
he
with
says
Benedict.
before he says it. I have that ability, so I can just go like that. I did read the script, yeah.
Did you?
Yes. Of course, they're not going to give you the script. But
So how did this happen? This is not a hot take, but my favorite part of going out to eat is the food. I've never cleared time out of my calendar just to go to a restaurant and soak up the ambiance. What I really want is a fresh, high-quality meal made by someone who knows more about food than I ever will. And if I can get that at home, even better. I've saved money, saved time, and still got a great meal. That's why I use Cook Unity. Cook Unity delivers restaurant-quality meals from award-winning chefs right to your door, saving you the hassle of shopping, cooking, and planning. Their menu is huge, so you get to enjoy a wide variety of global gourmet flavors to suit your palate. And if you've just made a New Year's resolution to go vegan, keto, high protein, low sodium, or any of 1,000 other dietary choices, Cook Unity has you covered. Personally, I'm trying to be better about not eating so many ultra-processed foods, and Cook Unity is making that easy and delicious to do. We tried California-style chicken enchiladas from Chef Kevin Meehan, and it was so good. We've also loved the French beef ragu and the Mediterranean chicken shawarma bowl. Cook Unity is offering our viewers 50% off their first week. Just click the link in the description below and use code NRockstars50 to try it out. Once again, that's 50% off your first week of Cook Unity if you click the link in the description and use code NRockstars50. Thanks to Cook Unity for sponsoring this video. Benedict Cumberbatch's confusion tells us a few things actually. One, MCU actors often have no idea what movies or shows they are appearing in. Two, the exact lineup of Doomsday and Secret Wars is still in a bit of a flux as this movie moves closer to its production start date this spring. Three, Cumberbatch might have misinterpreted Marvel Studios executives or misinterpreted his agents or misinterpreted the Russo brothers, hearing from them that he would be in a third Doctor Strange solo film, which is still probably the case, a follow-up to Multiverse of Madness, and interpreting that to mean that he therefore wouldn't be in Avengers Doomsday, when in reality Marvel Studios has always intended this actor on being in Avengers Doomsday and Doctor Strange 3 and in Avengers Secret Wars. 4, regardless of what Doctor Strange has to do in Doomsday and a third Doctor Strange film, his quote in Variety that he has a lot more to do in Secret Wars probably remains true. And 5, the little Benedict Cumberbatch knew about the original plan for Avengers the Kang Dynasty might have heavily involved his character dealing a lot with the Council of Kangs. I'm only assuming that because in that Variety article, the first article, the interviewer included the words, quote, he shares that things changed when Jonathan Majors, whose character Kang was intended to serve as the main antagonist of the next phase of the comic book film franchise, was fired. In the world of attributions and journalism, this is what we call a paraphrase, which is opposed to a direct quote. That's when the writer puts in their own words what the source says, and then they typically precede that paraphrase or succeed that paraphrase with a direct quote of what the actor says verbatim, just to kind of give a bit of variety as someone is reading this in a paragraph form. So what probably happened here was the Variety writer asked, did you getting dropped from Avengers 5 have anything to do with Jonathan Majors getting fired? And Benedict Cumberbatch answered in the affirmative to that, and then Cumberbatch said the bit about the character not aligning with this part of the story. But either way, that's a robust response. That was not Cumberbatch misunderstanding Variety's question. That was Cumberbatch having previously misunderstood his team and Marvel Studios and the Russo brothers, and just being under this impression that the new plan for Doomsday specifically did not require Doctor Strange. And the fact that he even had that impression in his head tells us a lot about the state of things right now with this film. And it tells us that there are significant changes to the story, but that incoming screenwriter Stephen McFeely and the directors the Russo brothers have a new plan for Doctor Strange in this film. And it suggests to us that the cast list that we saw on that January 2nd, 2025 from the Production Weekly December 12th production report for Avengers Doomsday is back to at least appearing accurate, even if it's not a complete list of everyone who's in the film. That report showed that the production start date would be late March 2025 in London, including the following as the cast: Robert Downey Jr., Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Bachrach, Tom Holland, Elizabeth Olsen, Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, Wyatt Russell, David Harbour, Hannah John Kamen, Olga Kurylenko, Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Haley Atwell. And at the bottom, Ana de Armas mentioned for a role, we believe, as we talked about in past videos, playing the character of Black Swan. We're also back to trusting Benedict Cumberbatch when he said this about an upcoming 5th Avengers film back in June 2024.
I'm very much looking forward to Avengers next year, which is cooking up a storm.
Cooking up a storm. A probability storm? An Aurora Monroe storm? Or like an incursion storm? Or was he just trying to say something cool? But it also sounds like Cumberbatch's confusion over whether or not he'll appear in Avengers Doomsday came after the announcement in July 2024 at San Diego Comic-Con that Robert Downey Jr. would be coming back as Dr. Doom, after which Cumberbatch reportedly, according to that Variety article, texted Kevin Feige, what the f***, but he clarified it was a good what the f***. Honestly, Cumberbatch assuming that he wasn't in Doomsday might have just come from whatever Kevin Feige texted back to him after that. Like, imagine this conversation. Benedict, Robert's back as Doom? What the f***? I mean, a good what the f***? LOL. And Kevin Feige saying, don't worry, it's all good. We'll explore Stephen more in Doctor Strange 3. And Benedict being like, oh, okay. And then now, in these past 7 days, there would be some kind of follow-up text exchange like this. Kevin, why did you tell Variety you weren't in Doomsday? What the f***? And that's a serious what the f***. And Benedict saying, you told me we'd explore Stephen in Doctor Strange 3. And Kevin saying, we will, but in addition to Doomsday and Secret Wars. And Benedict going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then Kevin saying, it's okay, but you have to tell them you up. And also learn how to say penguin. And the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch had to go back out to press to clarify that he will be in this movie, that the Russos or Marvel Studios or Kevin Feige directly contacted him during these 7 days to set the record straight, only really elevates Doctor Strange's importance to the plot of Avengers Doomsday. They could have said nothing and just let fans go on these months assuming that the guy wouldn't be in the movie until we saw like a set photo or saw a social media post of him flying to Atlanta or to London or wherever. They needed us to know that he's in this movie. That's how important he is to it. So really, in my view, this increases the odds that Doctor Strange will be identified as the mystery anchor being of the sacred timeline 616 universe, a mystery set up in Deadpool and Wolverine. After all, Kevin Feige did call Benedict Cumberbatch, quote, the anchor of the Marvel multiverse at a past Hollywood Walk of Fame event. It also suggests to us that Doctor Strange's memory wipe spell and Spider-Man No Way Home and his relationship with Peter Parker are also going to play a bigger role. Additionally, if that Production Weekly cast list is accurate, Cumberbatch being in Doomsday will probably be critical to however Wanda Maximoff spin-off returns. While they seem to be removing the Council of Kangs and anything Jeff Loveness wrote from the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania from this movie, they are likely keeping intact the multiverse logic that was explained by the 838 universe Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness, and everything we learned about incursions from that film. That's safe to assume because Michael Waldron adapted much of that dialogue directly from Jonathan Hickman's writing for Reed Richards and his explanation of incursions to the rest of the Illuminati in the Time Runs Out comic storyline. And if anything, by bringing back Dr. Doom to this story, they are going back to the source material for these two films. And with Robert Downey Jr. returning as Dr. Doom, it seems to be really important to the Russo brothers not just to have Doom facing off against MCU newcomers like the Fantastic Four and repurposed Phase 4 newcomers like the Thunderbolts, but specifically facing off against Infinity Saga era heroes that Robert Downey Jr. has already had key moments of screen time with, including Tom Holland and Chris Evans, and yes, Benedict Cumberbatch. As I pointed out in our last video, the fact remains that Marvel Studios already gave us a specific clue in Deadpool and Wolverine in the form of that Secret Wars #5 comic, which goes back to explore how Dr. Doom and Molecule Man destroyed the Beyonders and absorbed their power to make Doom God Emperor Doom, and how that led to this moment of Doctor Strange humbly admitting that while it's too much for him to fathom, deciding what lives and what dies from various universes destroyed by these incursions, Strange ends up telling Dr. Doom, "You have to do it." And "you have to do it" could be Doctor Strange's final line to Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday. As Strange adds some deeper context to that trembling one-finger communication, we might now understand that part of that future that Doctor Strange looked ahead to in Infinity War was not a victory for the face of Tony Stark, but a victory for the similar-looking face of Victor Von Doom. So, comment down below what you think about all this. Follow me at Erik Voss. Subscribe to all of the channels in the New Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.